Welcome to Psychologies. My name is Nicola Harker, doctor, coach and creator of the Burnout Antidote coaching program. In this short video, I'm going to be showing you why self-compassion is an essential antidote to burnout and how to start learning how to cultivate self-compassion. This is the first video in a 4-video series. To access the other videos, you can use the link below to subscribe. And once you've subscribed, you can access the full coaching program, including weekly workbooks for in-depth coaching. So use the link below to subscribe, or if you're already a subscriber, head over to the Life Leap Club page on the Psychologies website to sign up or sign in. Now, my experience of burnout was that it was like heading down a deep dark well or into a narrow dark tunnel. It was really hard to see anything further ahead than just what was in front of you. And it's really hard to reach out to other people for help. And the further you go, the harder it is to see how you're going to get out again. Now, this experience of burnout relates to the fact that when you're under sustained pressure with no obvious way out, your brain goes into threat mode, which is like the fight, flight, freeze mode, and you also try to overcome the stress that you're experiencing using the drive mode, which is that part of yourself that says, if I just work harder, I'll be able to get through this. And of course, over a period of time, that becomes unsustainable, and this is what we experience as burnout. So mindful self-compassion has been shown to be a powerful antidote, helpful for burnout. But how on earth do we go about learning how to do it? This is what I'm going to show you in these videos. Now, Kristen Neff is a leading researcher in the United States, and she defines self-compassion as having 3 key components. The first is awareness. And what she means by this is that having the awareness to see your emotions as they're happening and be able to take action to support yourself rather than being a passenger to your emotions. The second component is common humanity. And in short, this is the idea that we all struggle. All humans struggle. This is a normal experience. And it's a myth to think that it's not normal to struggle. And then finally, the third component of self-compassion is this idea of taking compassionate action to support yourself, not to fix the situation, but simply to support yourself because you struggle. So to accompany this video, I've created some coaching questions for you to help you to dive deeper into the subject. So if we start with awareness, my question for you to start with is, what would you do for a friend who is struggling? What would you say? What would your body language and your tone of voice be like with a friend who is struggling? Now, this question is important because when you reflect on what you naturally do for other people, it becomes clearer that there's a big contrast between how we manage other people's struggles and how you might speak to yourself on the inside. Developing awareness around that difference, the fact that when you struggle, you tend to perhaps berate yourself or rush yourself or criticize yourself. And that's very different from the way that you naturally reach out to other people. Now, when we're exploring awareness, I'm also going to invite you to look at awareness of emotions in your body. Our feelings and thoughts can sometimes move very quickly, and particularly if you're experiencing burnout, you may just be firefighting, dealing with one thing after another. But learning to recognize your emotions as physical sensations in your body is really helpful, because you can start to pick up on your emotional states because your physical sensations don't change so rapidly. So again, I'm giving you some coaching questions to help you with that. Now, moving on to common humanity, I invite you to reflect on how you might be judging yourself for struggling with burnout or feeling that you're approaching burnout. When we consider the idea of common humanity, it's really helpful to recognize that all humans struggle. And there's been some really fascinating research looking at the top 10 concerns of humans. And what they found is that no matter what culture you come from, what your gender is, the top 10 concerns of humans are remarkably similar. So at any given point when you're struggling with something, there will be thousands of other people around the world who are struggling with the same thing in exactly the same way. And then finally, we come to this idea of taking compassionate action, not to fix, but to support yourself simply because you are struggling. And this might feel a little bit alien at first. So I invite you to start by thinking again about what you would naturally do, what feels compassionate that you would naturally do for someone else. So you might be really great at giving people hugs, or you might be a really great listener, or you might naturally say to a friend, let's go for a walk and talk this through, just let me hear about what you're struggling with. And you might say to them, take your time, this is difficult now, but you'll get through it. And then considering whether perhaps you could turn some of those actions towards yourself. So for example, when you're struggling with something, when you feel like you've failed or you've messed up, or you're struggling with burnout, how do you tend to address yourself? You probably rush yourself to get over it, push yourself to try harder. You're probably quite tough on yourself compared to how you would be to someone else. So using self-compassion is about just turning some of that wisdom towards yourself and listening, giving yourself space and time to recover. So let's recap. We've looked at the 3 main components of mindful self-compassion, which are awareness, common humanity, and taking compassionate action, not to fix, but simply because you struggle. So delve into the coaching questions to dive deeper, and I look forward to seeing you in the second video where we will be exploring the topic of resistance.